Hello everyone, welcome back to Roxin's Weekly, the weekly roundup of the news in rock and metal. News has been a bit thin on the ground this week, but we start off with some really big stuff. The biggest, of course, being the return of My Chemical Romance. At the moment, they only have one date booked, which is Friday the 20th of December at the Shrine Expo Hall in Los Angeles, California. What does this mean? We don't really know at this point. It could be a full-fledged reunion. It's being labelled under the moniker Return, although it could just be a one-off gig. Who knows? It's likely we'll get some more information a bit closer to the time, maybe actually during the gig itself. Perhaps they'll announce a reformation, something that people have been clamouring for since they finished in 2012. Basically, as soon as My Chemical Romance announced a hiatus, or a split up, I suppose, people have been wanting them back, and we finally got it, so here we go. Nothing's clear at the moment, apart from there is this one show coming up, and it's going to be absolutely brilliant, I'm sure. It's My Chemical Romance. Whatever you think about them, they're a pretty special band to a lot of people. It's been lovely to see the internet ablaze with just love and nostalgia for this band from a lot of our childhoods. Of course, we will be reporting on whatever happens in terms of this reunion, whether it expands, whether it's just a one-shot. If you want to know more about it, then feel free to subscribe to this channel and we'll keep you in the loop. For the second week running, we've got Bloodstock news. Bloodstock have announced their other two headliners, the fantastic, as always, Judas Priest, who will be performing a 50th anniversary set, and Behemoth, who will be returning to headline after their headline performance in 2012 that everyone seems to forget. Generally, the reaction has been pretty positive to this announcement, and why wouldn't it be? You've got the old stalwart in the form of Priest celebrating their 50th anniversary, and you've got the face of modern extreme metal in the Behemoth. As I say, generally the reaction has been positive, however there have been some reservations from a small portion of the internet about Behemoth's booking. This is due to the controversies that Nergal, the frontman of the band, has found himself in over the last few years. Namely, his Instagram posts, last year posting a picture of the Senegalese football team as slaves after they defeated Poland in the World Cup, and most recently a post of a t-shirt with anti-Antifa sentiments, sporting the phrases, kill them and fuck Antifa. Add into this the Toilet of Hell news story about the fact that Nergal witnessed and was party to a sexual assault, and you can understand why some people are a bit upset by this booking. Whatever your thoughts on the matter, you can let us know down below. Personally, I'm quite stoked that Behemoth are getting a big slot because they really deserve it after The Satanist and I Love You at Your Darkest. But I do have reservations about the sense of humour of Adam Darsky. It seems like a lot of these things are in jest, even if they are in pretty poor taste. Following on from last week's news of Chris Adler explaining his decision to leave Lamb of God, he has clarified the statements on an interview with Elliot in the Morning, describing his relationship with his family member, Willie Adler, as weird. When asked if the relationship between the brothers is still friendly, he replied, "It is. You know, it's blood. It's kind of one of those things, and not that this is the case, but with family, there is a level of disrespect that's somehow tolerated, where it wouldn't be with friends or whatever. And I don't think there's going to be any real disrespect going on here in either direction, so yeah, we're going to be fine." When asked what he meant by Lamb of God's possible change in direction, as he alluded to in his statement, he said, "I didn't necessarily mean that at all. In fact, everybody in the band are very, very creative people, and I'm sure the new music's going to be great. They're pushing the boundaries of the genre, and I have no doubt that it's going to be awesome. What I meant was that I had a dream when I was 14 years old, and I've been very fortunate to go around the world several times, and we've played the arenas, we've had the headline slots, we've kind of done everything there is to do, and I just don't really feel the need to continue to do it and miss time from my family." So it's quite nice to know that things have been put to rest, that there is no bad blood between Lamb of God and Chris Adler. We are still waiting for an official announcement from the band about it, but for now it seems like everything's okay, which is obviously a massive relief as a huge Lamb of God fan. In an interview with Rolling Stone Germany, Tobias Forge of the band Ghost has said that he feels very inspired to start work on a new album. Of Prequel, he says, "Right now it's touring up until the end of the year, up until Christmas. I'm in the beginning phases of putting songs together and writing. I write a lot all the time. That is phrases, riffs, ideas, like this little beat, things like that. All of them are placed in this basket as a little seed that as soon as you pour water on it, it can sort of erupt into a song. But then, after a year, I need to go into the studio and I need to pour water on it and see what happens." This seemingly confirms a statement that Forge made to Metal Hammer earlier this year, saying that Ghost would not be releasing another album until at least 2021. So, sad news for Ghost fans, but at least he's in the process of putting something together, and I'm sure the next album will be great because they're pretty much on a run of 4 for 4. Good news for podcast fans, as of Wednesday the 30th of October, Marshall have launched their own podcast with Daniel P. Carter as the main host. The first guest of the podcast is the legendary guitarist Slash, and of the podcast, Carter says, I wasn't particularly into the idea of sitting with an artist and discussing every detail of their amp settings. However, I did want to sit with these people and talk about their lives, from touring to their creativity and everything in between, and how Marshall has helped to play a part in it. This podcast does exactly that. So as I say, good news for podcast fans. Daniel P. Carter already hosts the Someone Who Isn't Me podcast, which is an excellent little bit of journalism. If you haven't checked it out, you really should. Does deep dives with all kinds of artists from all walks of life and really gets interviews that you're not going to get anywhere else. So we can only assume that he'll be doing much the same with the Marshall podcast, with a broad range of interesting guests. So far confirmed are Lizzie Hale, Corey Taylor, and many, many more. So go and check it out if that sounds up your street. And finally, to round out the news, there is a new record label in town. Jason Butler, the frontman of Fever 333, formerly of Let Live, has announced 333 Records and signed their first band, Guerrilla Warfare. Butler says of this project, when I started this project, it was quite literally built on a foundation of community. In my mind, this community would thrive due to its unique focus on ethics, progressiveness, symbiotic structuring, and of course, dope art. I believe that the difference between myself and many other record labels, especially most established ones, is that I am not here to make money off my artists. I am an artist who wants to create a structure that challenges the current music creation process and disrupts the way it is distributed. I will do this by working with my artists, so we all have a stake in the fulfillment and success of the art. Certainly seems a very noble endeavour, and what more could you expect from a man so politically focused and charged as Jason Butler? So, last quick thing to mention, there's been some excellent content on Roxins, as always, in my opinion. We've had reviews of Austerity, Nile, Un Misère, you should all check those out. There is a live review of Sun. There is also a video of that from them at the Roundhouse that you can check out on this channel if you're that way inclined. There will be a live review of Daughters at the Islington Assembly Hall coming. There will be a live review and gallery of Refused and Thrice at the Shepherd's Bush Empire. There will be a live review of Blanket from last week and of Dawn Raid set at Rough Trade in Nottingham. So if you'd like to see all that, keep your eyes peeled on roxins.com. There will be a link to it below in the description. Our latest podcast just came out. You can find a link to that below as well. It's definitely worth your time as our esteemed hosts take a deep dive into Metallica's S&M and S&M 2. And generally there's just coverage of all sorts of lovely stuff, so make sure you keep your eyes peeled on the website. That's about it for this week. It's been a bit thin on the ground news-wise, but I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. If you did, give us a like, give us a subscribe, leave a comment. What do you think about the Bloodstock headliners? Are you excited for My Chemical Romance's return? How much does Black Parade mean to you? It means a lot to me, I can tell you that for free. And I guess that's it. I'll see you next week.